Cruella is the latest Disney live-action crime comedy film that's out for streaming if you want to pay $20 on your already $10 monthly subscription on Disney Plus, or just go see it in theaters. Or if you know your stuff like me, then it's for free $99. This is the latest directional work from Craig Gillespie, who's given us a few recognizable films like Lars and the Real Girl, Fright Night, and most notably I, Tonya with Margot Robbie's dazzling performance. Cruella stars Emma Stone as the titular character with Emma Thompson, Joel Fry, Paul Walter Hauser, Emily Beecham, and Mark Strong as the recurring cast members. Cruella is set in the 1970s punk rock movement London, wherein Estella Miller is an aspiring fashion designer with a horrible childhood that wants to become something bigger other than being a thief that barely makes ends meet. She's brought in by Baroness von Hellman, played by Thompson, as a concept design drawer, and she slowly begins to work her way up and around into becoming a notorious fashion designer that takes reign over the industry and begins shaping a name for herself. Cruella it's fine. It's a welcome addition to Disney's live-action movie caliber, though it's nothing to exactly revel over. So first things first, Emma Stone is good. She portrays this newly reinvented, refreshing take on the Cruella character with a certain elegance and finesse. However, I do think the screenplay ultimately forbids her from really going more above and beyond for roles such as this. I personally would have liked to see the character as a more menacing and black-hearted woman, similar to how malignant the original Disney villain was. And I guess you can counter that point a little bit in regard to this film being treated as a prequel to 101 Dalmatians storyline, because this movie really is about Estella's young adulthood. However, so the screenplay does have an effect on Stone's character because they end up doing two twists to the story, and the first twist makes sense. It adds a vengeful tone and lays out some purpose, and the other twist, just near the end, ends up undermining said first twist, and it changes the narrative and motivations. To clear things up without spoilers, the first twist has to do with the necklace, and the second twist has to do with the mom. Again, I think sticking with just that first twist and making the remaining storyline about Cruella's downfall, spiral into wickedness, it would have made a much more entertaining, albeit we've seen this before, story. Instead, that mother twist switches the story into a rebellious, upbeat final act that makes Cruella a more reasonable and courageous anti-hero. And you can point out the obvious that this is a Disney film, so they're not going to have the film go about Cruella's self-destruction, but at this point I think that's just pandering on Disney's side. I think this would have worked much better if this was an evil Cruella. Kids just need to grow the hell up. And I know they could have done this. I mean, the introductory segment literally shows Dalmatian dogs killing a woman. They also have a scene of Cruella and her team burning to death. There's plenty of adult-themed implications, so it's like, why not just go the full stretch and make this movie about Cruella's rise and fall, and the sequel, which has already been announced, then realizing her faults along the way. Alright, that major tangent aside, there's other stuff to discuss. Emma Thompson is killer. Wow, stellar performance. She's able to make one of those villains that really stick out and genuinely make you dislike her, which is hard. It's equivalent to Umbridge from Harry Potter. The soundtrack choices are superb, especially when it comes to the 1970s punk rock tidbits. The costume design is rightfully sophisticated, chic, and eye-catching. Shout out to the team for efforts on this one, some incredible fashion workings. This movie's funny, great job especially to Fry and Hauser as Jasper and Horace. They're Cruella's friends who have great timing and dig deep into their characters to really bring them to life outside of their limited roles in 101 Dalmatians. The production design is splendid. I like the fashion workplace environment every time we go there. On a couple of negative notes, the runtime is for sure unnecessary here at a little over 2 hours. Some scenes drag way too long. Emma Stone's emotionless monologue scene at the fountain, just get rid of it. I was thinking to myself in some scene, like, just get on with it. The movie itself also feels stuffed and cramped in some regards as well, and that in turn elongates the runtime. The little stuff like exploring the punk rock movement is underutilized, whereas we get more than a few rinse and repeat segments of Cruella's fun missions. Again, that second twist is where the fun ride starts to derail and tumble, and we get more character motivations and discussions about allegiance. They're trying to fit a lot in here. With everything said, this is a passable, enjoyable villain origin work. The third act undermines the film with a heavy toll, but the humor, performances, and the design keep you interested long enough to see what Cruella's gonna do. I give Cruella a 6, and I recommend it if you like Emma Stone or you want an easy to follow story about the competitive fashion industry. Until next time,